Hey guys, my name's Grace and this is Our Oldroid Life. This is a channel that I use to document different things that are happening in our life. Most recently, I've decided to open up and share our experiences with infertility and our journey with IVF. I am currently 12 weeks pregnant with our first baby through a cycle of IVF. It took us multiple surgeries, multiple medicated cycles, and one cycle of IVF to be able to get pregnant with our first child. And so far, everything is going well. We hope and pray that it continues and that we'll be able to meet our first baby in February of 2024. If you haven't had a chance to watch the previous videos, feel free to go ahead and go back and watch some of those videos. They'll be in the playlist there. I created these videos as a way, one, to document my experiences because I don't want to forget. It's so easy to move past a really hard time in your life and just put all that aside. But I learned so much about myself, about my body, about the world, and I am continuing to gain empathy and compassion for other women who are going through similar experiences. And I wanted to be able to open up and share my story and my experiences in hopes that it can comfort somebody else, maybe help somebody feel a little bit more connected, not alone, and provide a little bit of education. I know for me, watching other people's videos on YouTube like this were incredibly helpful. I would literally sit and consume these videos for hours on end because I'm the type of person that likes to just throw myself in, educate myself as much as possible, read so many different experiences, hear all these different examples, and then take in what feels right and true to me, and then, you know, kind of base off my experiences off of what other people experienced. And so my hope in these videos is for you to feel a little connection. And if you want to reach out to me, I would love to hear your stories and love to cheer you on and support you in whatever you're going through. And if you just want to silently watch, that's okay too. That was me for years. So in today's video, I want to share a little bit about my first trimester pregnancy symptoms. Because it's just fun to hear what different people experience. But I would also encourage you not to compare my symptoms with yours or take it as medical advice. I'm not a doctor, so it's just my experience and what I've been experiencing. So very high level, my first pregnancy or my first trimester symptoms have been what I would describe as pretty mild. I feel really lucky and just very blessed that my experience has been manageable. I've known friends and family members who have had horrible pregnancies. They're sick all the time. They can't keep food down. And I just can't imagine the mental toll, the physical toll that would take. That wasn't really my experience. I did have, I will say, I mean, I don't feel great. Let me just clarify that. I would say about 75% of the time, I feel 80% great. 25% of the time, I'm operating about a 50% capacity. So for the most part, I feel pretty good. It's manageable. I can function. And then there's a few days and a few hours of each day where I just don't feel super great. For me, I didn't really have any major symptoms until, and by major, noticeable symptoms, until probably about week 6, I started getting a little bit nauseous. And I use that word really lightly because I wasn't really nauseous, but I definitely noticed if I didn't eat consistently, I felt just kind of a little meh. I go for walks every day. I do some sort of exercise or yoga every morning. And I noticed my energy levels definitely were decreased. I felt a lot more fatigued. It was harder to catch my breath. But like I said, very manageable. I just slowed down. I didn't go as far. I didn't push myself as far, but very manageable. There were a few days about week 6 where I was like, oh, I think I'm feeling nauseous. And so I went and got ginger chews and did all those things. And it didn't really do anything for me, if I'm being completely honest. But I also wasn't nauseous enough to like feel relief from it. I just was like, oh, this will help. And so I kind of was like, I don't know. I don't feel like this really did anything. The biggest thing for me was just eating consistently and drinking. Very thirsty, but wanting cold water. I didn't want like lukewarm water. I wanted ice cold water. And that actually only became more apparent throughout my first trimester because it was hot. It's summer in Utah. I mean, we had days that were over 100 degrees. I just wanted pebble ice and like super ice cold water. So the orange juice, I drank a lot of orange juice. Mandarin oranges were like my friend. I didn't really have any like food aversions. Like I know some people have like aversions to meat and things like that. There were times where food didn't really like sound super good, but it wasn't like I didn't feel really nauseous or wanted to vomit. I could brush my teeth just fine. Like there were all those things, but like I just didn't feel great. Like I didn't feel 100%, but I wasn't like sick. As my pregnancy progressed, I was like getting pretty like confident. I was like, okay, I'm doing pretty good. I hadn't thrown up. Like I felt pretty good. But then I would say about week 10, I started kind of feeling kind of sick. And it was kind of a little discouraging to me because I'm like, I made it this far. Like I thought my symptoms were supposed to like start subsiding or, you know, and now and over the next couple weeks. And this is when I actually started feeling the worst. So week 10 and 11 were probably the worst for me. But when I say the worst, it really wasn't horrible. I mean, Andrew will probably say differently. It was like, you were sick and you were complaining. I probably was. But I really didn't feel that bad. I think in my head, I had mentally prepared myself for throwing up multiple times a day, not being able to get out of bed, wanting to take naps, like constantly, like not being able to eat. Like that's kind of how I mentally prepared myself. And that just wasn't my experience. Like I had energy. I just was slower. I just was like, there were times where I was like, I kind of want to take a little nap, but I wasn't sleepy tired. It was just my body was tired. And so my mind was alert and wanting to do things, but my body was like, I'm kind of tired. So I would, you know, work on my computer or things like that. But like, I wasn't ever to the point where I was like, I need to curl up and take a nap. Or every once in a while I'd get a little gaggy, but never would throw up. It was just kind of like, okay, that was weird. Week 10, when week 10 hit, I started getting really burpy. And like everything I ate, like felt like it was just sitting, you know, on my chest. And like I would burp and it would be like, I know this is gross, but if you're pregnant, have been pregnant, you probably can relate. Pregnancy is not very glamorous. So there's a lot of things that happen. But I would burp and I'd be like afraid that like food would come back up because it didn't feel like it was actually like being digested, which is that's one of the results of pregnancy is that your digestion actually slows down. And so I was like, oh, that's probably just that. Like, and I kind of went about my day, but I would notice that like if I'd lay down, it was worse. If I was on my side, it was worse. If I'd like bend over to pick something up, it was worse. Which was really discouraging. And so I was like, oh, but I was like, I don't really feel nauseous. And so, you know, I'd be like trying to think about like how I was feeling. And I'm like, I feel fine. Like I don't feel sick, but I don't feel great. Like, and my, you know, everything I read and stuff was just like, well, just make sure you're eating, make sure you're drinking. But then I'd eat and it would make it worse in the sense of like, I wouldn't actually throw up, but like, it just felt worse. I did throw up once in week 10 at night because I noticed night was the worst. Is I would start feeling the worst between like 6 and 8 o'clock at night was when I would usually start feeling kind of just lethargic. I'd have a stomach ache. I'd get really burpy. And that's usually when Andrew would get home from work. And so I was like, I wanted to spend time with him, but I just felt like I was not, you know, not my best self. But in the mornings and throughout the day, I felt fine. It was just in the evenings when Andrew got home that I was like, I don't feel very great. I just don't have a lot of energy. Anyway, it occurred to me, which I don't know why this didn't occur to me before. I was experiencing heartburn, which I was like, I was like reading up on it. I'm like, I even asked Andrew, I was like, what does being nauseous feel like to you? And like, I was like, I don't think I'm feeling nauseous, but like, I kind of feel like I'm gonna throw up, but not really. But like, I don't actually ever throw up, but my stomach hurts. Like, and I was bloated, of course. Like, and so I was like, I think I'm just bloated. And you know, just, this is just part of the experience. I feel like I've been bloated for like 6 months now, let's be honest, because between the egg retrieval and the transfer and, you know, 3 months of pregnancy and the progesterone and oil shots and my estrogen pills and all that stuff, I have felt bloated. So I was just like, it's just a feeling that I'm just gonna feel for a while. But then when I started reading about the symptoms of heartburn in pregnancy, I was like, oh my gosh, that's literally everything. I was like going down the checklist. I was like, yes, yes, yes. And I was like, I'm experiencing heartburn. So we went and got some Tums. That solved a lot of it. So still feel like every once in a while, I'll kind of feel it in evenings and stuff. I've started getting a few headaches. But like I said, it usually happens at night. And so what I usually try to do is just go to bed. And luckily I've been able to sleep because I don't usually sleep during the day. Like I'm not really taking naps during the day. And so at night, I feel like I am able to like go to sleep pretty early, which is kind of nice. And so when I start feeling like kind of meh, I usually will have like a tiny bit of yogurt, like Greek yogurt, before I go to bed, and then I go to sleep. And I'm usually able to sleep. I have started getting up to pee, you know, once or twice throughout the night, but other than that, that has been my first trimester experience so far. Been pretty mild. I feel really lucky. I'm hopeful and optimistic that I'll continue to feel well, knowing that as it gets closer and closer to delivery, obviously I'm going to be more bloated and large and all of those things. But I'm just thankful and excited that I get this experience to carry and deliver my own child. I spent years literally coming to terms with that may never be my reality, and you know what that would mean for me and for my family. And so to be able to actually experience all the pregnancy symptoms and to be able to experience this opportunity, I feel incredibly lucky. I know there's a lot of women out there that don't get that opportunity, and that is a really hard place to come to grips with, especially if it's something that you want and something that you aspire to. So happy to feel the things. And I don't get me wrong, I have my days. Like I had a day, I was like, I don't want to do this for 9 months. This is like exhausting. Like, how do women do this? I was like, mine's not even that bad. And I was like, I can't do this. But just try to remind myself that like I get to do this and I am excited. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to hear your stories and be a source of strength and encouragement. And I'd love to be a source of strength and encouragement for you, or just a cheerleader from the side. So whatever you're going through, I'm here for you. I'm excited for you. I'm praying for you. I hope that you continue to find strength and find happiness along your journey.